So peace, health and wellness on your house. My my whole home has got COVID. Everybody in my house got COVID. So I needed to, wear a mask and like that to try to protect myself from getting it. Which isn't easy, you know what I'm saying? That COVID is very infectious. It happens quick, you know what I'm saying? With touch, it happens real quick. So I use different herbs and oils and those different things to keep my system strong. So I'm not really worried about it. But yeah, I take precautions, right? you know, I'm gonna tell you how powerful you are. You're so powerful that the only way you could die is through you. You so powerful, only you can kill you, you know. And that's some deep shit because it is through your actions or inactions that death will occur. Outside of that, nothing can kill you but you. You're very powerful. But I did want to just speak on a couple of different things, just touch on a couple of different things, right? So what just happened in the world is that China and Russia and India have decided that they're not going to use the US dollar no more. They're not going to use the US dollar. Now, why is this relevant in this day and age? What's really going on, right? What's really going on here? You heard Russia say that Ukraine was Nazis. You heard Putin say that the Ukrainians were Nazis. Now, if you scan back through history at who the Russians have pretty much always been fighting with, it's the Nazis, right? And today, you see the United States of America sending billions and billions of dollars over to Ukraine to assist them. And it's openly known that those are Nazis, right? Okay, so in a twisted turn of events, they have us here supporting Nazis. Your tax dollars, your energy is supporting Nazis in the Ukraine, right? Because Joe Biden and his son got tangled up and was making money over there. So now your tax dollars and everything is going over there to Ukraine. All right. Now let's peep game for a minute. Okay. Let's peep game for a minute. When Putin went in to Ukraine, the United States of America, you know how these people do. You know the colonists. The colonists ain't never stood toe-to-toe. Anytime he's ever stood toe-to-toe with any enemy, they have lost. When they went to Vietnam, they got their asses whooped. They do not stand toe-to-toe with an enemy, ever, right? This is why they developed missiles where they could put cameras on and see what was going on. They don't stand toe-to-toe with an enemy. Never will, never have. Anytime that they have, they've lost. So they learned. They don't. So their primary vector, their primary attack vector was economic. In fact, they reached out to Elon Musk and asked him to turn off all of the Tesla vehicles in Russia, turn off their cars. Yo, that's some deep shit. Asked him to turn off their cars. Okay. But what they did was they cut up his credit card, right? They imposed economic sanctions, and the thinking of the world was that Russia couldn't withstand that it was going to break them, that they were going to buckle, and the engagement would be over, right? This was the thinking. And so they cut up that man's credit cards. Well, another thing happened, right? See, the UK and the amount of trade that occurs between the world and Russia is substantial, right? It's substantial. In fact, Donald Trump some time ago said the EU was too dependent upon Russian oil and they ignored him, right? He said it. He said the EU was too dependent upon Russian oil, and they ignored him. Okay. So now, what happened was the EU had been buying their products from Russia. Now, again, in context, remember Brexit. Remember Brexit, right? Brexit put those member nations in a place where the trade lines were broken, right? The trade arrangements and deals were broken for those member countries. Okay, so Brexit plays a big part in the insolvency of the EU today, very insolvent, okay? But then when, so the EU was buying oil and wheat and all of their products from Russia. They bought them, they received their goods. Russia didn't take their money out of the EU banks before they went into Ukraine. And so when America decided to cut up their credit cards and impose sanctions, what the EU did was they stole that man's money. Okay, they stole Russia's money. That money was legitimately Russia's. They had bought goods from Russia and they had used those goods. But now they had access to his money and they stole it. Okay, they stole the Russian money. So now, Tuesday of last week, Vladimir Putin, Vladimir said no more goods would be sold to any of those countries that were that imposed sanctions on them, right? None of those countries that have taken actions against them could buy any of their goods. Now, let me tell you something about Russians, right? Russians don't, you know, they're slow to act. Russia is slow to act, right? But when they act, yo, they mean that shit. They mean that. If Russia takes a position, if Russia takes a stance, they about to back that stance as far as it'll go, right? So when Russia imposed sanctions, it's not a game. It's not a game. Russia said, we're cutting you off. Guess what? The EU cannot stand that. When Donald Trump said that they were too dependent upon Russia for energy, he was not wrong. He was not wrong. It's an amazing thing when you have the wrong person saying the right thing. That's what Donald Trump was. He was the wrong person saying the right thing. And it made everybody not really be able to comprehend. Wrong man saying the right thing. But so now the EU, let me tell you something. The EU is about to be put back into the dark ages. And by proxy, America, wait a minute, please understand again, they thought they were going to break his back, right? With the sanctions. They thought that they were going to end this engagement very quickly based on the sanctions that they imposed. It didn't work. Why didn't it work? Did you not see Russia go and bail out Venezuela? When Venezuela determined that they were going to produce a digital coin, and Donald Trump and the Western colonizers wanted to steal Venezuela's resources, they tried to choke them out, right? They tried to choke them out as a negotiating tactic. Do you remember who stepped in? Who was it that saved Venezuela? When you saw their money in bundles rolling down the street because of they're tying everything to their cryptocurrency, and Donald Trump saying it was illegal to buy it. When that happened, who bailed out Venezuela? You remember? Anyone? Anyone? Who bailed out Venezuela? The Russians did. Who was behind the Russians? The Chinese were. Like, these are global moves happening. And it's not, it isn't just chance occurrence. This has been building. This has been building. Now, let me tell you who China got by the balls. Because you're not talking about small players. You're not talking about small players in this international game. China owns Australia. Australia can't do a damn thing without China. Not a damn thing. Australia is strung out on copper. Okay? Australia is strung out on copper. And the copper that the Chinese are processing and hold Australia hostage with is coming from Zambia. It's coming from Africa, right? But China has a stranglehold on Australia. Australia can't do nothing. You can't make no noise. Can't make no noise. So the combined control of Russia, China, and India, I'm telling you, places the European back into the dark ages. Watch. It's not a matter of if. It was always, there was always going to be something that caused this house that was built on sand to shift and fall. Always. There was something. You can't do this forever. You don't expect that Ray Ray could live his whole life raping and killing and beating elderly and treating the children poorly. You didn't expect that Ray Ray could live a long and prosperous life based on doing those kinds of things in the community. So why would you think that America could, right? Why would you think that America could breed and rape and kill and murder and maim and all innocent people, and that she would flourish? She would be the beacon of morality and humanity, or somehow these people would change their direction and suddenly, like Superman with a cape on, they're going to save the day. That's not the way this shit goes. Their poisonous shit is supposed to die based on what it did. They did it. It ain't got nothing to do with me. I didn't do it. My family is innocent. My family is innocent. Over 400 years, they are innocent people trafficked to this place. We didn't do this. We didn't put this into place. We didn't poison this planet. We didn't poison the natives on this land. We didn't do that. That's not me. That's not us. They celebrating their independence, but the cost of their independence was the lives of innocent human beings, and they celebrate this shit. Let me tell you something. This wasn't never supposed to turn into the beacon of the world. This was never supposed to heal and fix itself and become the beacon for the world. It wasn't supposed to do that. It's supposed to die. It's supposed to feel the effects of its own cause. It's supposed to, I pray justice, man. I pray justice for me. Anything that I earned, anything that my hands have done, I expect it to come back to me tenfold. This is why I try to do good works, because I expect any energy that I spend comes back to me. And it has been demonstrated in my life. It is true. It is a true fact. So what do I pray? I pray justice for you, for me, for everybody. I pray justice. Well, what does justice dictate for this endeavor, for this enterprise that they engaged in? What does justice dictate? It would dictate the crumbling, the erosion of their model. And it's happening. There's nothing that I can do. There's nothing that you can do to change that. You must feel the results of the cause that you have put into place. That is yours. You earned it like a paycheck. It's yours. And this is America's. And so right now, you look at what's lined up. And again, it's all of this stuff is ironic. It's interesting, but it's all been shown. It's all been demonstrated. If you have paid attention to history, then you absolutely know what the fuck is going on, right? You know what is going on. This has always been the Russians fighting the Nazis, always. Now, you know, what happens is we think Nazis, and all we think is right? That's all we think is Germany. But there were 3 Reichs. There was a first, second Reich. But even prior to that, you please understand that Britain is a German colony, Anglo-Saxon, the House of Saxon. England, Britain is a German colony, and America is a British one. So it was Nazis from the start. It was always Nazis from the start. And Russia has been the most staunch opponent of that throughout history, right? Throughout throughout history. Russia has always been the one that stood on the side and was like, nah, yo, nah, we're not going for your control. So now, guess what? The Chinese, wait, you think the Chinese ain't gonna be? Look, man, regardless as to the means in which they have done what they have done, I'm not here to judge any man. I'm not here to sanction or validate what people have done. I'm not. What I am going to say is that the Chinese, there was a time where they used to say a person didn't have a Chinaman's chance, right? And this is because they had eroded the Chinese people through 2 opium wars where they flooded those people with opium and strung out their men so that they could steal their resources. They did this to them twice in history. And this produced a scenario where they were so confident they would say, he don't have a Chinaman's chance. They mocked China. They did this to them and they mocked them after they did it the same way they murdered our fathers and mocked us for not having fathers. That's what they did to those people in China. They dropped bombs in Nagasaki, right? They dropped bombs on those Japanese people. You think they forgot? Just because you didn't see no protests and no signs, and you didn't see them lining up and marching through the streets complaining about them having dropped a bomb on them people, you think they forgot? You think they forgot? You think the Chinese forgot that they strung them out? And so in comes a man named Mao Zedong, and he made changes in China that produced a superpower. And the Chinese were coming in. Hey, man, when the Chinese were coming in the 70s as tourists, they were taking pictures of bridges. They wasn't taking pictures of your damn teapot. They didn't care about your damn Tea Party or your Plymouth Plantation. They was taking pictures of your roads, your bridges, your infrastructure, and they brought all of that back to China, and they've created a superpower. So China got beef with you. You understand? China got beef with America. Okay, always has, ever since they strung them out. Okay, India, India been shooting off nuclear missiles for fun. Just to, hey, wait, because what's my man's name? What's my man's name? Oh, Kim Jong-il, right? Kim Jong-il, he's shooting off missiles and then shooting his own missiles down, right? Just to show the world I got missiles, yo. Right? I got missiles that can reach South Korea. I got missiles that, right? He been doing that. India, on the other side, been shooting up missiles just to show the world we got them too. We got missiles too. You know, me, I got a missile too. So now you got a group of people that have legitimate beef against these colonizers, right? Got legitimate beef against these colonizers. And as we have just spoken to, this was a slow burn. This didn't happen overnight, right? Venezuela, when Russia went into Venezuela, please look right now. Please go look while I'm speaking. Go look. Russia got motherfucking missile silos in Venezuela. In Venezuela. They've got defense systems in Venezuela. Russian troop buildup has been in Canada for years. For years, Russia's been building troops in Canada, okay? This has been a slow burn. This didn't happen overnight, okay? So now, again, you've got a capable and hostile group of people that have legitimate beef against these colonial powers. And what the colonial powers did was they tried to exert their force, right? They tried to impose economic sanctions upon those people to break their back. But what they didn't recognize was this was a unified force, right? This was a unified force between Russia, between China. Well, wait, it ain't just Russia and China, because behind China is North Korea. Behind that is Japan and South Korea. And now you enter the India. Yo, bruh, what you looking at is the X-Men of the world right now. This is like, yo, they didn't gather up the biggest heroes in the world. And they're standing at America's gates, at the UK's gates, and they are damn letting them know the shit is changing. It ain't gonna be what it was, right? Now the micro. We've spoken about the macro. Now the micro, okay? The micro is we standing in America pointing fingers at each other. Black men pointing at black men pointing at black women pointing at black men. We can't, we focused on, we watching versus battles, and we focused on everything other than our existence into tomorrow. Confident, comfortable, that no matter what, white people gonna make it. Come on, don't be silly. If white people should fail, that's doomsday, right? Because they're God, right? There's no possible way that they could fail, that this could flounder. You know how I know this is what we believe? You know how I know this is what we believe? Here comes the troublemaker. Because you hear these brothers calling themselves high value men. High value men. But if your value is predicated upon the economy under which you live, if that economy should falter, if the interest rate should rise, if jobs should dry up, what happens to your value then? So your value, when you listen to this, when you listen to what high value is, if high value will fluctuate based on the strength or lack of strength of the economy under which you live, then your only value is set at a slave auction block. Your value is predicated upon white supremacy. You hear that? Your value at that point must be predicated upon the solvency of white supremacy, because if white supremacy falls, your value then falls. So how do I know that we're too comfortable here? How do I know? I'm seeing all the threads. I'm seeing what everybody talks about. I'm seeing the relationship conversations. I'm seeing all this bullshit, right? And wait, but for years, right? You've had access to me, and everything that you've seen me do, everything that you've seen me say has been moving around this planet trying to show you how to filter water, how to produce food, how to produce power, how to control essential needs. You done got tired of me saying essential needs. Look at the cost of a bottle of water today. The gas went down, but the water went up. Look at the cost of a bottle of water right now in your city. The truth of what it was that I have been saying to you and what it was that I have been trying to orient you towards is meeting itself out today. Your essential needs, the ability to exist absent anybody else, is the only thing that will keep you alive. It is the only thing that will make you free or slave. So again, if white supremacy should fall, if the sanctions, that look at the value of the dollar today, man, they just did this. All of this is breaking news, baby. They just did this. China, Russia, and India. Yo, look, the sanctions that Putin put down was last Tuesday. They're keeping it from you. They're not telling you how afraid they are, but they're about to start jumping out of buildings because their dollar just turned into nothing, right? Their dollar just turned into nothing. No one respects it any longer. And so now you're just watching a slow die. That's what's happening, is this is going to slowly die. So now let me ask you, if you're tied to the success or failure of another man, oh, my clothes is all unbuttoned. If you're tied to the success or failure of another man, and that man fails, what happens to you? Again, Elijah Muhammad said there would be a day when the white man wasn't going to be able to carry himself. What would then happen to his slave? What would then become of his slave who ain't did nothing for himself, who has been like an albatross or a leech on the butt of this man, just consuming, eating, taking, high value, and running around like a peacock in front of your own, right? What happens if the system whose success or failure equals life or death to you should fail? And so Again, I've, at great cost and great sacrifice, I've spent an awful lot of time trying to orient you correctly. I've traveled the planet trying to show you what you was going to need. Look at the cost of water. I told you how to build a water filter so you didn't have to count on that, right? I've been trying to orient you. At the same time that I've been trying to orient you, you've seen the Ledge Group building in Africa. You've seen us producing reputation. So many people, you know how many people come at me? You cannot imagine how many people come at me and say how wrong it is for me to be building in Africa and why aren't you building here? Then when I try to run a solar class here, 5 people show up. I do it in Africa and 100 are standing outside, right? When I go to teach them how to build a water filter, when I offer to come travel anywhere in the United States of America or anywhere in the world to teach you how to build a water filter or to build an energy solution, 5 people show up in America. I go to Africa and 100 people are standing there waiting, and there are 100 standing out the door waiting, right? So I've taken so many, man, from my own, so many bangs and blows, right? From them talking about, yo, well, how come you doing it in Africa? How come you're not doing it here? Because here is about to turn to smoke. Because this is about to turn to ashes. What kind of a fool would I be to build in a place where it is still beneficial to white supremacy? I don't believe my energy should be spent augmenting white supremacy any longer. I believe that 400 years of my family and their energy being spent to augment white supremacy is enough. I don't feel that my energy should be contributing to the solvency and the artificial existence of white supremacy any longer. I think it should fall. I think it should burn. I ain't got to light the match. They lit the match 400 years ago. I ain't got to do a damn thing. I ain't got to stain my lips or my heart. I don't have to do that. But what I do have to do is ensure that I am able to flourish to and through anything that happens to white supremacy. I should not be tied to the success or failure of a people that do not even recognize my humanity. It is important for me, and it has been important, that I build a solution. You've heard me say it for so long. And guess what? You know what? Some people say I'm arrogant. You know, people get all different kinds of beefs. It doesn't make any difference. Your baby still needs fucking water. It doesn't matter what I am. Your baby still needs everything that I'm talking about. I'm talking about food for your family. I'm talking about existence into tomorrow for your family. So while you focused on me, you got it all fucked up, right? You got it fucked up. You should be focused on what the fuck being said to you. And the fact that you're going to need specific things in order to be able to live into tomorrow, into next week, into next month, into next year. And that is how you define wealth, the ability to survive over time at a given threshold. So I have told you with great enthusiasm and great effort what it was that needed to be done. I never stopped. While I've been telling you, and while y'all been throwing jabs and punches and telling me how I was wrong, or how this is a scam, or how I'm scared to lose my money, all you do, while you've been doing all that shit, guess what we keep doing? We keep building. We got a sister that's fabricating our own tools right now. We making our own tools right now, right? While you've been standing there bumping your gums at me, we ain't never stopped. And what did we focus on? The exact same things that I have been telling you you would need, your essential needs. You're going to need food. You're going to need water. You're going to need healthcare. You're going to need tools. What are all of those things that you as a human being would need if no one else was there? If no one was there to support you or to hold you, what would you need? And those are the basis of nation building. I hear all the conscious talkers, oh, we need an army. You can't have no army if you can't hydrate an army. You can't have no army if you can't feed an army. You can't have no army if you have no provision for a man getting injured in war and being able to take care of him in your health facilities. You cannot have an army without these prerequisite things first. What you got is a bunch of men standing around talking with no plan, right? You got a bunch of these peacocks walking, talking about their high value, but can't light a fire, can't build a birdhouse, right? You got these peacocks walking around, taking your attention from what it should be. You think that TikTok is some shit? Man, look, how difficult was it to watch Hurricane Katrina? How difficult was it to see our people on roofs in the parishes while the water was rising, to see them holding American flags, trying to show the helicopters, I'm one of you. And guess what? At that time, now it becomes clear that you're not one of them. July 4th, 1776, my third generation great grandfather named London Attis in Machias, Maine, who had fought the Revolutionary War in his master's place. His master went and signed him up to go fight. He's 16 years old. He went and signed him up to go fight. And when the fighting was over, he was ordered back into slavery. That's my family, right? July 4th, 1776. They asked him, after he purchased his freedom, they asked him if he would be on their float, on the very first July 4th float. And he said, nah, good. I don't need to be on your float, right? Because he knew this wasn't independence for him, right? What is happening is that this is crumbling, and rightfully so. It's supposed to. I expect Ray to get his. If I don't bring it to him, I expect somebody will, right? Because he can't do this. You out here, you got 13 babies, they ain't none of them know that you're the daddy, right? You got all this bullshit built up behind you, and you think that you're gonna flourish. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, right? Thomas Jefferson is the deadbeat dad of the year, right? Thomas Jefferson is the #1 deadbeat dad. America's the #1 deadbeat dad, right? So again, this is the condition that was produced by this nation. It's gonna fall. It's not my doing. It's not your doing. It's not your fault. It's not anyone in your family's fault. But guess what? It is still the reality that you exist in. You, your babies, everything you love is right here. And this man is coming off. You saw the Supreme Court and the Roe versus Wade. Everybody knows what the hell that is really about. It's about white babies not being born, right? They're not being born as quickly as other babies are. So they're trying to turn the Latino to them, right? And they trying to change everything so that they can increase their numbers so that they do not disappear. It is a futile battle. It was a futile battle since when they came into being. It's the weakest genetic material. It doesn't have the ability to recreate itself with any solvency over time. It's like breeding pit bulls over and over and over and over and over again. What happens is the genetic solvency weakens over time. So they got to take 1,000 medicines to stay alive. They got to do all of these different things to stay alive because their genetic solvency has been diminished. So they're disappearing and they know it. But guess what? Guess who you dealing with? Guess who you dealing with? You think this is like a soap opera? They're just gonna go walking quietly out into the night, huh? You think they're gonna just fly away like bats out into the moonlight, right? That's not how they're gonna do it. That's not how they're gonna do it. They have been fully aware of this. They went from medical studies to transhumanism because they know there's nothing that they can do to slow or stop or prevent the genetic insolvency that must occur. They know it, right? So they moved to transhumanism. So they have known this. And in knowing this, you know what they did was they didn't ever say, okay, we're going to tell the world about this and try to come to a solution or a method of dealing with it. That's not what they did. What they did was they hid it. Okay, they hid it, and they tried to keep you from knowing it. And then what they did was they produced food that was just terrible. The only thing that there was no nutritional value to the food. The only thing that food would do is keep large numbers of people here and able to fuel white supremacy, right? So you think you eat nutrition, but it ain't nutrition. It's famine crops and GMO food. There's no nutrition to it. And it's been this way for about 100 years, right? They've produced all of these different methods by which to simply artificially keep this afloat. It has been artificially afloat for 400 years, to be completely honest, right? For 400 years, it has been artificially afloat. Well, I'm telling you, with what has just occurred relative to Russia, China, India, and the world, this shit is coming due. The EU will be in the dark ages in 1 year. I'm saying this on video, you hearing me. The EU is going to be in the dark ages in 1 year. And after that, America, yo, look, these Western countries, yo, they getting what they deserved. And guess what? Just like I said, you don't deserve it. But instead of considering practically your own condition, you standing here talking about, well, I'm native to this continent, I'm not going anywhere. Well, you know how, guess what? This is my house, right? I could have built this with my bare hands. If it catches on fire, what am I going to do? Stand in the middle of it and say, but it's my house. It's my house. Oh my God, it's my house. Or am I going to get the fuck out and build it again? What am I going to do? Which one am I going to do? Right? So I see them standing there, we're indigenous, we're this and that and the other thing. The fuck, all these names, right? Taking names and shit. I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other thing. But the house is on fire, your head burning, baby. Like, at what point do you stop and say, okay, maybe I just need to step out? You know what I'm saying? Let happen what's gonna happen, and I'll come back and build. So now you got a whole population of these facsimile men running around with these words on their lips. This Tariq Nasheed pimp, he was a pimp, right? This Tariq Nasheed pimp and the ADOS movement and the FB1s and the damn high value men. They got all this bullshit on their mouth, but they got no plan to survive. They got beards, but can't make a fire, can't build a birdhouse, right? You got all of these words, but you ain't spending not 1 second planning, considering, existing absent white people. Everything like the refrigerator, right? You open it up, the light goes on. It's magic. You ain't got to worry about it. You don't know nothing about that. Close it up, the light might go off, it might go on, and you don't know. It's magic. You don't have to think about it. You ain't got to think about your water. Look at the price of water in your city right here, right now. Look at how much water costs in your city right here and right now. The gas has gone down and the water has gone up. Your essential needs are going to rapidly become the only thing that you can consider. All that damn, your favorite verses and your favorite minstrels and what they're talking about and all the rest of that bullshit that you've been focused on, that damned you. I didn't say that in a past tense. I said that in a present tense. That damned you, because you spent your time looking at shit that didn't matter. And instead of looking at your babies and thinking about what they were going to need, how is your family going to be able to come through? How would you survive the collapse of that man? No, you thought that man could never collapse. Well, I'm here to tell you, and I've been telling you, wait. Please don't take this as meaning I'm some great soothsayer. I'm not none of that shit. I'm repeating to you the words that Malcolm said. I heard him say it. I'm repeating to you the words that I heard Huey say. I'm repeating to you the words that Marcus said. I'm repeating to you the words that Frederick Douglass said. It was your ass that ignored them, didn't listen, and didn't consider that what they were saying might have been valid. So it's not like I'm some great man. Look, I'm just coming. I'm coming again. I'm saying I'm repeat. I represent those who came before me, right? So these ain't new words. This has always been coming. What has happened is it is more present than any generation prior. No generation in our lives, they were always talking about, my mother, her mother, they were always talking about the revolution or this was going to fall or Judgment Day and like that. They were always talking about it. They never were going to live through it. They were never going to see it. They knew that, right? And they would say that. Guess what? Guess what? We're going to see it. We are going to see within the next year, 2 years, things that none of our family before thought would come into being. And I have said for an awfully long time that we need to prepare. My focus, you said, I've been to Africa many times. I love Africa. That you could come, lay, stay, or pray. It makes no difference. I like Africa. I'm going to Africa. Okay. Hey, whatever it is that's in your mind, I love my master. I love my baby master. I'll never let him go. If that's what you want, good. Hopefully he can survive what's coming for him. My feeling is what's coming for him was aimed for him, and I don't think he can survive. I don't think he can take what's coming. He's got a biological bomb. He's got a natural bomb. He's got a metaphysical bomb coming straight at him. He earned this like a paycheck. I just don't think he's able to take what is about to happen. But you banking on him. You thinking he's going to be straight. You thinking that once he's straight, he's going to turn around and take care of you because he's so humane. He's Superman. He got that ass up under him, under that shirt. You know what I'm saying? It's Clark Kent shit. I mean, so somehow he's going to save you. That's fine. I'm suggesting to you today, as I have suggested for the last 15 years, you better find a place outside of this because this will soon be scorched earth. It will soon be the zombies that they have been prepping you for. It will soon be Mad Max, right? It will soon be a fight for survival. Instead of fighting for survival, we should flourish. Right? You should plan to flourish instead of fighting for survival and injecting yourself intentionally into that condition, right? This is why we've done what we've done. I'm exponentially expediting our plans all over the continent. Ledge members, you see, if you will, look inside of the Ledge group, you will see that Brother Talemu has just updated you. We've moved that along. You will see that there are updates coming out of Tanzania. You will see that I am in constant communication in Kenya. We are moving. You will see that we are active in Uganda. You will see that we have activated everything. Why? Because now is the time. So I'm 55 years old, man. I sacrificed a lot of time, a lot of life, a lot of money, a lot of effort, trying to bring these things to you and trying to teach you. I'm 55 now. My time of sacrifice is over, right? I've done what I intended to do. Now it's time for me to enjoy it. It's time for me to move on out. It's time for the legends. It's time for you, Armand, to move out. It's time for us to get out. It is time for us to begin building our forever everywhere that we have gone. And what have we done? We've created the reputation that allows us to do that everywhere and all over the planet Earth. We've produced the reputation so that I can show up at any airport. Armand, you can show up at any airport anywhere in Africa and they will recognize and respect you because of what we have done. And that was the intent. That is why we sacrificed. That is why we worked and built water filtration facilities while they thought we was crazy. Why we built and farmed on 53,000 acres of land while they thought it was crazy. Why we building hospitals. Why we have built logistics businesses and tow trucks and all of these different things. Everything has a common theme. Why we're making tools. All of this has a common theme. And that is to be able to flourish independently, autonomously, not dependent upon any government, not dependent upon anybody, but what we have done, right? So I say these, I didn't mean to spend so much time here. I did just want to have a quick conversation and do a level set as it relates to where the world is and how it's changed, right? You're watching the Republicans. It's a funny thing because the United States of America and their population was all scared of what Trump was going to do, and he couldn't do none of that. And the one that did everything that they were scared he was going to do was Biden, Democrat. He just did everything that the world was afraid this dude was going to do, and he couldn't do. This dude, who everyone smiled at and loved, just did it all. EPA, roll back Roe versus Wade. They about to do the voters, man. They about to, hey man, they destroyed America. Now America was already destroyed, but right now you can't even, it ain't even a lie. It ain't even, they're not even hiding. When they openly backed Nazis in the Ukraine, they're not hiding. They're showing you who they are. And they've been showing us for 400 years. We the only ones standing around saying, that can't be. Show me that you love me. Let me know you love me. Pat me on the back of my head, right? We just couldn't believe, though they bred you and raped you and castrated you and sold your family and did all these things. We just couldn't believe that they didn't love us, right? Well, the fat's in the fire now, ain't it? So I'm just going to suggest that if you have no plan, I anticipated that. It is why we built the Ledge Group. We had a plan. We executed the plan. We consistently have worked on that plan. There ain't no animosity. You are welcome to join. You are absolutely welcome to join. But if you do not, I suggest that you have some plan somewhere on this planet outside of this nation where you've got your well, you can filter that water, you've got food, you've got alternative energy solutions in place, you have your essential needs covered, because very, very soon, your supermarket ain't gonna have nothing. You watched over the last 3 years, you've had yo, man, we've had the best precursors anyone ever could. You watch the healthcare system crumble. You watch the supply chains. When they said, oh my God, there's a pandemic, everybody get toilet paper. The fuck? What? Right? You watched all of these systems crumble. And still, nothing in my people made them think, damn, we might need to, nah. Completely confident in these folks. Well, let me tell you, like I said, the fat's in the fire. And if you do not have a plan, you are welcome, right? You are welcome. You are not welcome to bring your bullshit. We maintain a standard of integrity. You are not welcome to bring your bullshit. I reserve the right to reject absolutely anybody, right? You are not welcome to bring your bullshit. We operate in a standard of parity and integrity without bend. Without waver, we will do the right thing. You are welcome. You are welcome to join us. If you do not join us, I strongly suggest you better find some land. You better find some land in DR, in Mexico. You better find some land out in Belize. You better find some land and get out. And when you get to your land, let me tell you what you need to build. You need to build a well. You need to build water filtration. You need to build alternative energy. You need to have food. You need to have shelter. If you have those things, then you're going to be able to flourish into the future. If you need to go to the store, it's going to be very hard for you. Very hard for your families. So again, word to the wise, right? Word to the wise. I've been here. Nothing that I'm saying to you here is new. I've had members that have been down with the Ledge Group since day one, saying, Pete, why you keep saying the same words to these people? Hey, coming at me like, yo, you sound like a broken record. And he's right. He's right. I do sound like a broken record, because I've said all of this before. I've been saying this consistently for 10 years. And the people have been too busy, focused on bullshit. And guess what? The fat's in the fire, man. Like I said, the fat is in the fire. So find us, find me, right? Like I said, Armand, I know you ready. Your mother's, I know she's ready. Let's go. It's time. It's time for us to execute, pull the trigger, and let this thing go. Let it die. Those who have not, like I said, more power to you. I know what's coming, and it ain't gonna be nice. Okay. All right, y'all. One love.